going to take a look at adding in bales for the Alfalfa. I'm going to use just the standard in-game textures, but they will actually be the correct fill types. So, you know, if you want to make some different textures, go for it, I guess. But I'm not really that fussed, to be honest with you. I know what I will be mowing or whatever, and I will just put them somewhere that I know what is what. And at the end of the day, I can stick a fork in it, a bale fork, and it will tell me in the HUD. Which is now included in version 1.3 of the game. It actually tells you what bale is what and what fill type is on the fork or bucket or wherever. So I'm just going to go with that. That's perfectly fine. So I'm in my installation folder for the game. I've come into data objects. And we have round bales and square bales. So I'm not going to use the same folder structure here. I'm just going to create one folder. I don't think I need to have multiple folders, because at the end of the day all this is going to contain is i3ds, just so I can rename some things. So I'm going to do like so, and I'm going to take the grass and the hay i3d setup, and I'm just going to drag and copy those over like so, and that's my round bales. And then I can do the square bales, so we'll do the grass and again the hay, and we'll take those over as well like so. And then I just need to edit the i3d to point in the right place. So these are in my objects, round bales and square bales folder for my installation setup. So these are the square bales. So this is going to be $data objects square bales. Square bales like so, and I'll do the same for the diffuse like so. And then this one here is just going to be $data, so it looks in the installation folder for that particular shader. It saves me copying over loads of shaders into my own map folder. I can just point everything back to the installation folder. And then the last thing I'm going to do is just change the actual fill type. So we want loosen underscore winrow, and that's that one done. And then I'm going to save and close that one down. We'll do the same for the hay bale. So this is going to be $data object square bales, and same with this one. And then this is just going to be $data again, so we'll do like so. And then this one is going to be dry loosen underscore winrow, and that's that one done. So we can do like so. And then there are round bales. So what I'll do is I'll just paste in the actual name there, and I'll just change that to round bales like so. And then I can just copy all of that and put that into there like so. And then these ones as well, round bale silage. Let me just double check that that's in that folder. Excuse me. Square bales, round bales, yes. So I can put that into there and that into there like so. And then this one here needs to be $data. So we'll do $data in there, and that'll point to the shader. And again, I just need to change the actual fill type. So both of these have got grass winrow and grass winrow. So we just need to change that from grass to loosen underscore winrow. And loosen underscore winrow, and more pop-ups. Loosen underscore winrow, yeah, so that should be fine. Is round bale, is round bale. Round bale grass. I'm not sure why it has two setups in the same one, but whatever. So we'll go ahead and save that. I just out of curiosity just open this up, because I'm not sure why it has two okay, so that's for the attach a trigger, and that's for the actual main visual. Okay, alright, that makes sense. So we'll do the same again for the hay. So if I just paste that into there, $date objects, round bales, round bale hay, like so, and these ones as well. And then we'll just change that to $data. And then this one is going to be dry loosen. And we'll just copy and paste that into there like so. And that should be that. So we can just go ahead and save on that one. And that's fine. So now I have my bales set up in there. What I need to do now though is actually point all of that in the right place so it knows where those bales are. So I'm going to go into the installation folder again here, games and data, maps, and then in here we have this bale types XML. So I'm going to make a copy of that one and put that into there like so. Okay, so I don't need to load all these other ones in because they are already in the game as it is. So I've got round bale loosen and dry loosen, and square bale loosen and square bale dry loosen. So I only need 4 lines here, so I'm going to basically remove all of those. Is round, what have we got here? That's false, so that's square bales. So what I'll do then is let's get rid of that one and that one, and then these ones, we want 2 round bales, so we don't want that one, hay grass, and we don't want that one, and I don't want the cotton bale. Okay, that's fine. So we've got our square bales and round bales. So if I change the actual fill type, so this one's going to be dry loosen, and this one is going to be loosen. And then again exactly the same, so if I take that from there, put that into there, that one from there, and that one into there, that should be fine. But then I need to change the actual file names here. Now like I said, or if I haven't said, I'll say it anyway. For whatever reason they haven't fixed the file names for bales, it's still broken. They fixed the file names for the density height type map, or whatever it's called, XML, for your tip on ground, but the bales are still broken to my understanding. So unfortunately, as far as bales go, you'll be able to use this for yourself in a single player environment on your own PC, but if you wanted to share the map with somebody else, if your computer's called, if you've called your computer John and somebody else has called theirs Bob, it's not going to work because it won't know where the hell to look. Or if somebody's installed the folder in a different place, or if you're on Steam and you send it to somebody who's on a disk version or a download version, it may not work. So until they update the game again with another patch to fix the file names, this is all going to be a little bit balked, unfortunately, but that's just how it is. So what I'm going to do then is let's take the file names here. They should all be the same because I'm not going to change any of this stuff. So we've got bale hay, bale grass, round bale hay. Yeah, so all of those are the same, so that's fine. I can just leave those as they are. But then what I need to do is change all of this stuff. So for me, this is going to be weird because it's going to be I think I did this in my hops video before they fixed it. So it's going to be, can I find this? Let's go see users, my, and then it's my documents, my games. So let's do this. Right, so let me just do this then. Okay. So in here, I'm going to, let's do that. So it'll be C:/ users / my documents / my games / Farmer Simulator 2019, and then it will be mods / once I get it into the actual folder there, and then it will be the name of the folder. So that needs to be in there like so, and then I can actually close that down, and more pop-ups. And then we've got maps, bale types. So that will be /maps and bales. Okay, something like that. Well, not something like that, exactly like that for me, but for you guys it will most likely be very different to that. You know, including the name of your map for starters, because I doubt very much you'll have a map called FS19_Ravenport_sample mod map or sample map or whatever. But you may have, who knows. So what I'm going to do then is make a copy of all of that and then paste that into there, and then paste that into there and into there, like so. And that's one of the reasons why I put them all in the same folder, because I just felt it would be easier to have everything the same, and I didn't rename any of the bales, so again that made it somewhat easier for me to just link everything in there. The name of the bale itself doesn't really matter, it's your field type that's going to be the important part there. So we'll go ahead and save that one, and that should match in to where I have the i3Ds. Well, we'll test that out anyway. So let's close that one down because I don't need that anymore. And then I'll put this in my mod folder, and I'm going to get into game, and I'll make sure I have no errors first of all. Oh, the other thing I need to do just before I do that, actually, while I'm thinking about it, let's go into maps, mapus.xml. For me it is anyway, it might be different for you depending on what map you're going to put this into. And I need to activate the bale types XML, so like I did with the field types and all of the others, just so it looks at my XML and not the in-game one. And I need to remove all of that so it gives it the correct file part, the file name will be correct, and delete that so it reactivates it like so. Now, as I've mentioned in the past, all of the in-game stuff is hard-coded to be loaded in irregardless of what it's looking at. So you'll notice in my field types XML, I've only got everything to do with the alfalfa in there, and the bale types is only looking at the specific bales for the lucerne or alfalfa, because everything else is hard-coded to be loaded no matter what. So these are just for additional field types, fruit types, bale types, whatever else. So if you start adding, if you leave all the original stuff in there, the game will attempt to load it twice, and that will then cause conflicts and possibly break game saves and crash your game and all sorts of weird and wonderful things. Possibly, I don't know. But it's better to just leave all the other stuff out and just only put in your additional items, to these XMLs. Yeah, so I'm going to get it into a mod folder. We'll go in a game and have a quick look. Well, like I said, I'll check for errors first. If there are no errors, I'll hit record. I might mow some alfalfa first, so I've got some windrows, get some equipment up together, and then I can bale it, and we can have a look at that, so you don't have to watch me get all the equipment up together and whatever else. Okay, so I've got some equipment up together. I've mowed this field here. I start a new game save because when you add in different XMLs and things like that, sometimes the save game doesn't update, so instead of trying to rejiggle things and make the save game work, I decided just to start a new game save. So I've reseeded a couple of fields here. This one I've just mowed in a with the big M to give me a nice swath to work with the baler straight away, and then the one over there I used the big M again and then just let it go wherever and tedded it and then windrowed it, so we have some alfalfa hay over there. So hopefully when I switch all of this on now, obviously when you mow anything around a field that has grass around it like this, you're going to get areas. You can see here I've got a bit of grass windrow and then my alfalfa windrow. So when you're going to bale it, just make sure you pick up the actual alfalfa windrow first, and then for the continuation of that bale creation it will always be alfalfa or alfalfa hay, irregardless to what you pick up afterwards. If that makes sense, hopefully it does. So let's lower this. Did I actually? May have done that anyway. So if I go forward, you can see in the bottom right there it's saying alfalfa, which is fantastic, that's what I want. So if I pick up and just go back to the beginning here, I can now pick up the grass windrow, but it will continue to make me an alfalfa bale. It's only when this bale is completed, if it then picks up and I empty it, it's only then if it picks up grass or any other kind of windrow, it will start to create a whole new bale in that field type. Okay, so we've got that one, and I can then extract that one like so. I'm just going to do one of each, so if I close this down and we'll get this thing out of the way, I'll grab the square baler I should say, and we'll just do a square bale in the alfalfa. And then what I'll do is I'll get the telehandler and stick the bale fork into the actual bale itself, and hopefully, if it has worked. The steering in 19, for me, is just broken. I never ever had problems steering a tractor in 17 or 15 for that matter. In 15 sometimes on mod maps was a lag fest and I still never crashed, but in 19 just doesn't work, does it? But never mind, whatever. Right, let's do this and this and this, and hopefully we should have alfalfa. Let's turn it on. There we go, alfalfa bale. Right, so let's do this one. Now, like I said before, the actual bales, the textures for the bales are going to be based on the in-game textures, so there's nothing going to be different about them. The grass bale and the alfalfa bale will look exactly the same for what I've set up here, but it's the actual fill type itself that will be different, hopefully. So I have a square bale and a round bale, that's fine. And while I'm in this one, I'm going to go over and do the hay. Now the first bale that comes out is going to be an alfalfa bale because I've picked up a little bit of alfalfa in here, and it will continue to make that alfalfa bale until it picks up the alfalfa hay. But whatever, again, it is what it is. So we'll just do this and then continue on and get my first bale, which will be the alfalfa bale, and then when I go to the next line, as long as I pick up the alfalfa hay once this bale's completed, down steering, I will then hopefully get an alfalfa bale. Should have enough here. I only want to create one of each really. I don't really want to make... Okay, so no, nothing I can do about the little bit of lag if you did see that in the video. It's just as it's loading in the i3D for the bale itself. Just the game mechanics, how they're set up now. Can't do much about that, I'm afraid. Once it's loaded in the first time in a game save or in a game session, it shouldn't do it again. In theory, it's just that first time gets a bit upset with itself. Okay, so there we go. Right, now I have a couple of bales here. I'll turn that off. The first one, as I say, is going to be an alfalfa bale, and then the next one after that will be the alfalfa hay bale. So we'll go Y, and you can see the difference in textures from those bales, but I still need to make sure that they are actually alfalfa bales and not just standard grass and hay bales, because unless it's actually seeing the correct XML, it will still load in the standard default grass and hay bales. It's just a kind of fallback bale that it loads in, but hopefully I have that set up correctly. Irregardless, like I've mentioned earlier on, the actual file name for the bales is still broken until they update it, so it will be up to you entirely if you want to go down the road of actually adding the bales, because it's not something you would be able to put in a map and then share with anybody else. They would have to edit the XML to then work on their PC, and forget multiplayer, just no chance until that file name glitch is fixed. So let's turn this on, and we do have alfalfa hay in the HUD there, so that's good. I'm not really that keen on making round bales, but one good thing about the round bales, you can always guarantee that you're going to get 100%, and then as long as you pick up and turn off, you're never going to be left with anything remaining in the actual baler, because you can always just theoretically get enough to make you a full bale, because it doesn't matter what you pick up. Once the bale started to create, I could pick up grass, hay, straw, whatever, and it will then give me a full bale of whatever I picked up first. So let's do that, and then we'll let's get this round so it doesn't roll away, hopefully, and we'll do like so. Probably still will roll away, but we'll see. It didn't. Shock horror. Right, let's close that. Okay, so I'm going to run over and get into the telehandler. Moment of truth then, when I stick this into the bale itself, what fill type is it going to give me? I'm hoping for alfalfa on these two, whether it be the round bale or the square bale, and then the other ones I'm hoping for alfalfa hay, but we shall see. Alfalfa, fantastic. So I now have an alfalfa round bale. If that one's working, there's a very good chance the others are as well. So textures aside, the actual fill type is correct, and for me that's fair enough. I'm going to go with that. Alfalfa bale, fantastic. So again, I have a square and a round alfalfa bale there. So we'll just go and quickly have a look at the others, and hopefully they're going to give me the right results. One thing to note while we're driving over, is not very far, but the bale wrapper at present will not work with these bales. It will need to be modified. I may include that in this video, or I might do a separate one. Not entirely sure as yet. We'll see how that goes. So I know that this one here is going to be the alfalfa bale. So this one is going to be the alfalfa hay, hopefully. So we'll stick that in. There we go, alfalfa hay bale. Fantastic. So that one's working. Let's get rid of that, and then we'll go over to the round bale. And an alfalfa round bale. Awesome. What I'll do is I'll go and get an in-game bale wrapper, and I'll just show you what it actually does when I try to wrap these bales. It will give you exactly the same information as if you tried to wrap a standard in-game hay bale. It will just say this bale is not supported. But I'll pause and I'll go and get a bale wrapper, and I'll just show you what I mean, so you can then compare the two, or you can see what will happen with the standard one, and then what I need to do to customize that and make my own mod and whatever else. Okay, so if I open this up, this is a double kind of baler. It will do rounds and squares. So if I come over to this one, alfalfa hay bale, and there you go, bale is not supported. So if I do this one over here, this is an alfalfa square and an alfalfa hay square. One steer, there we go. So if I try and do this one, bale not supported, and it will give me exactly the same for this one as well. And bale not supported. So you know, obviously as default this will not wrap any of the alfalfa bales. So if you were going to work with alfalfa silage, you know, at the end of the day the game is going to still see it as silage. It won't be called alfalfa silage, it will just be called silage, the same as if you were going to wrap a standard in-game square bale. But you know, whatever, silage is silage, I guess, as far as that goes. So what I'll do is I'm going to have a look into modifying or making a modded bale wrapper, so that we can actually then bale or wrap these bales. Now what I will do is actually set this up, or set it up so that it will do both the alfalfa hay and the standard alfalfa. I have no idea in real life which one you would do, or even if you would do either of them, I don't know. But you know, whatever, again, it will give you an option if you wanted to actually have that capability, I guess. Right, so let's have a look at, I'm going to open up Giant Editor here and make a modded bale wrapper. One thing I did actually find, for whatever reason, you may not experience the same issue. When I made the bale wrapper for myself to get it all working and test it all out, I had some issues. So I'm going to try and go through those and explain what I experienced and then how I overcame it. So function we have in the editor is new mod from game. So click on that and it will bring up this window. In here you have pretty much everything that's in the base game that you can make a mod from, and you just need to go through the list and find where it's located. Can be a bit of a tricky thing sometimes, but I've done this a couple times now, so I should know where it is. SW4014, which is the model number of the Coon wrapper. As you can see there, the i3D file is pointing to the Coon folder. So I'm going to click OK, put it in my default location. It gives me my bale wrapper. We'll close that down, and I'll drag this out onto the desktop so I can work with it a little easier. And then I'm just going to rename the folder. So we'll go fs19 underscore Coon underscore and then all the numbers. We have a mod desk which needs to be put together in a certain fashion. I'm not going to get through or go into all of that. I've actually got a model here which I'm going to just cheat a little bit. I did have a model here, maybe it's in this folder. I've got so many different folders with so many different things in now, it's unbelievable. I'll find that and I'll come back and we'll have a look at that in a minute. Okay, managed to find it. So this is what the mod desk should look like once you've put it all together with the title, description, and the store item. The store item, certain parts will be put in by the Giants editor when you create the mod, and certain parts won't. The multiplayer support equals true. For whatever reason it doesn't generate. You can put your own name in or whatever else as the author, like I have here, and then the description. The C data stuff you don't actually need unless you're going to upload the mod to the mod hub, because this is how the algorithm reads the information from the mod desk and then puts it up on the mod hub. You will need a minimum of English, French and German as your translations, as far as I'm aware, and they all need to be set up with this C data setup. Otherwise you can just type whatever you want in there, but you do need them. It needs to have some sort of title and description with a base minimum of 1 translation set up, otherwise it will throw up an error. I would probably stick with EN, but that's just because I'm English and I speak English. Otherwise you know, go with whatever language, I guess, DE, FR, or whatever it is for other languages. And then our store item, the root node is not automatically assigned, and if you don't put one in, the game will just automatically assign it to miscellaneous. So because this is a bale wrapper, I want it to be under baling technology in the in-game store. So I add the root node of baling, which then puts it in the correct category for the in-game store, and then it will be under baling technology. So structure like this needs to be set up in your mod desk for everything to work correctly. Okay, so we close that down. Now, one thing I found, for whatever reason, and I have no idea why, all of this has been created by the Giants editor, so it gives me my file name for my i3D, which is exactly where it needs to be in this folder. All of the other information here is set up absolutely bang on correctly. We've got our store icon, so it shows that up and whatever else. But when I actually put it into game, even if I change nothing at all in this XML, it freaks out and crashes and will not load. The only way that I've managed to fix this is to actually go into the installation folder, find where this XML is located in vehicles, and then under Kuhn and SW4014, and copy this XML and replace the other one. By doing that, what you can actually do then is delete both of those because they are no longer required, because this XML is going to point to the in-game installation folder for the i3D and load that in for you instead. It'll also load in the image file from the installation folder, so you don't need to have any kind of setup there. And if you wanted to, you could possibly even set the icon file name to match this one here. So I could actually take all of that information from there and basically just put that in the mod desk here, like so, and it will look in there for the icon file name as well. I haven't done that yet. I've actually I copied it over and left it in my own mod folder, but we'll test that and see what happens. So to actually make this work with other bales, we need to scroll down to here, and because this does round bales and square bales, it has 2 entries, one here for the round bale and one here for the square bale. This is set up for field type, not field types, so we have to have separate lines for each field type that we want to add. So if I make a copy of that one, and I'm going to actually include the hay, the dry grass windrow, so I'm going to have 4 bales in total. So I'll paste in these 4 lines, and then I'm going to just change this to dry grass windrow. This one will be my Lucerne windrow, and then this one will be my dry Lucerne windrow. That may be different if you've set your field types under a different name than Lucerne. If it's Alfalfa windrow, then this needs to be put in there as alfalfa windrow, not lucerne windrow or whatever. We need to do exactly the same here for the square bale types. So I'm going to take that one there, 2, 3, 4, and I will then paste those in like so. Then this one I'm going to change to dry grass windrow, and then this one will be dry lucerne windrow. And that's really all there is to it, as far as I can work out. And I don't know why the XML that's created by the actual Giants editor, this XML is broken, but I tried literally everything, and I could not get it to work the way it's meant to work from what I experienced in previous attempts at doing mods from in-game equipment. I've never had the issue before, but the XML that's created by the Giants editor seems to be broken, so the only way I could make it work was to actually take the XML directly from the installation folder and then have everything pointing towards the installation folder, all of the files, because at the end of the day all you're doing here is just changing some field types, but the actual mod desk is going to be pointing to your XML. So it's going to load this XML, which is the one that's in this mod folder, but this XML, the actual equipment XML, is then going to load everything from the installation folder. So there's no requirements here to have any further textures or any further i3ds or whatever else. The game will recognize what you want to do by just setting up those path file names, at least in theory anyway. So I'm going to chuck this in a mod folder and I'm going to try it out and see what happens. Okay, so let's see what happens. Baling technology, this is the one I've already purchased, the in-game one, and here's my modded version, exactly the same price. I've not changed anything there. So let's see if we can buy it. It shows up in here. Before, where for whatever reason that XML was corrupted, the spinny wheel would just stay on the screen forever and ever and ever, and in here I would have a list of errors, Lua stack errors, as long as your arm. So this is a good sign, it's actually showing up in the store. At the end of the day, you could clearly see there all I've got in that mod folder is a mod desk and an equipment or vehicle XML, but everything is pointing to the installation folder for the game, but it's still loading in what I want. Now it's just a case of testing it with the different field types to see if it works with the alfalfa bales. So we'll go ahead and buy this. And what I will do is, what have I got here? So many different vehicles. I'll just buy a new tractor, I think, doesn't really matter. So let's get the John Deere. Why not? So let's get this one, and we will bring it down to the field. So it's obviously shown up in game, so that's a good start. Connects up and it moves, so nothing's broken at the moment with it. That's good. And we'll just see what we can do with it. Now again, I'm not a farmer, I have no idea whether you can bale alfalfa hay, or standard grass hay, but to me it just seems a little bit weird why you would not have that capability in real life or in game for that matter. I don't know, maybe there's some reason. I guess once grass has been dried into hay, it may not have enough moisture in it left to actually do its chemical reaction to create silage. It may then become haylage, I guess, if that's a thing. Let me know in the comments. I don't really know on that. But if that's the case, then if you can actually make a haylage bale, so you can wrap a hay bale and then make haylage, is that not something? Is that not a thing? Could you not use that for something? I don't know. But anyway, we're here, so let's just test this out. and we'll see what we can get out of this. So we have a round bale and a square bale for the hay, alfalfa hay. We also have a alfalfa bale. So let's just see again, this bale wrapper does both square and round. So bam, there it is, straight in there, perfect. While that's doing that, if it will continue to do that while I get out, yeah it will, so that's good. Just to prove to you that these bales are actually alfalfa bales and not anything weird. So that's an alfalfa hay bale, as you can see there in the bottom right, shows up in the HUD there, and that's an alfalfa bale. The other one was an alfalfa hay bale, round bale. So we'll do that, and if we then jump back into this tractor and unload this one like so, we'll do one of these bales, and then I'll stick the fork in that bale, that round bale, when it stops rolling away. And there we go, that one's doing something as well. So let's get over to here into the Manitou, and I'll try and catch that other bale as it's rolling away, and we should have a silage bale. Silage. So yeah, you know, that is now, with that small modification there, creating our own mod and changing some of the fill types, I can now wrap my alfalfa bales to create silage bales. And that's the alfalfa square bale all wrapped, and this is the alfalfa hay square bale. I have no reason to believe this one wouldn't work either, but we'll test it. And there we go, that one is also now going to wrap as well. Yeah, I think that's, you know, pretty much all I can do there. You know, alfalfa in a map, working, mowable. You can ted it and turn it into hay. It will regrow on its own, so you don't need to reseed it again. The way I've put it together there, basing it around the grass, it converts the ground texture, so it's not going to stay seeded. It will convert this over to a grass terrain texture. So you would possibly need to cultivate or plough this under if you wanted to change this field back into wheat, barley or any other arable crop. And also we've now got a modded bale wrapper to make silage bales. I'm ShyWizard, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch you in the next one.